what's your favorite type of beer as a second level cicerone?
Did your homework.
I did.
I would say my favorite beer is the Saison, but regularly I'm drinking like Pilsners
Okay.
and or like a malty lager, you know? So I like a Czech Pilsner. I like a Doppelbock.
We read the fun. Yeah. Is there like a specific type of beer that you like that's from Cleveland, where you're from?
Ooh. I used to work at this brewery called Market Garden Brewery. They're not the hypiest brewery in the world, but they make really reliable stuff. So I drink a lot of lagers from there.
Okay. How about here in like San Diego, SoCal area? What's a good brewery that we should visit in this area?
I worked for this brewery called North Park Beer. They are pretty small, but they are making like world-class beer.
Really?
Winning a ton of awards. Like they won some awards for the best West Coast IPA, which is a really tough category. And they make really good stuff.
I feel like everyone talks about IPAs and not enough about like other styles of beer. I feel like when I go to get a beer as like a layman, I'm like, just the IPA. It sounds good.
Yeah. I mean, if that's like the flavors that you like, pretty reliable. And there's a lot of, you can get fruity ones or more bitter ones. So there's they're there for everybody.
Nice.
Yeah.
So we're here with Leanne.
Hello.
Leanne with the van. But before the van, you lived in an Element part-time.
Yeah.
And I'm excited to have you on and like discover like why you started this journey, how you started this journey, like what inspired you. So yeah, thank you so much for being here.
Totally. Thanks for inviting me up.
Of course. So take us back to when you started to like travel in your Element. Like how did that start?
Well, it was during the pandemic. I knew that I wanted to do van life travel, and I wasn't sure how accessible it was going to be for me. Financially, realistically, making a big change was a little scarier than making a smaller change. I was driving a Ford Fiesta at the time, and I bought the Element specific to convert it. So I got it, and then within, I think, 4 months, I built a platform into it with a friend. And I think the whole build cost me like $300 initially, just with like the wood, the materials, the bedding, window cover stuff. And so it was like the most accessible way to get into van life.
Yeah.
And so I started with like smaller trips. I took one in San Diego County just to a campground. Then I just went to Utah instead. I went to Utah solo, and I just kind of figured it out and was finding myself, my job was partially remote. It was mostly remote. And so I was able to step away for a week at a time, week or two, and go explore and then work on my computer and do all my things and just check in now and then. And
move across.
Yeah.
I'm active.
I was like, I would build newsletters in the evening, and then I'd like send it to my manager during the daytime and be like, hey, does this look good? Okay. And I'd like schedule and, still answer emails and all that on my own time. But
and what kind of work was this that you were doing?
So I was working in beer marketing for 9 years.
Okay.
And so at that particular job, I was running a membership club. So it was kind of marketing to a specific group, and we were doing a lot of like online beer releases. So I was managing all the logistics of all of that and the communications around it.
Okay.
And all of the like Shopify stuff. So I was doing that.
Nice.
So it was a whole lot of smaller jobs for one like pool of.
The best part is that you're able to do it remote.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can travel and.
It was super not remote. And then the pandemic kind of forced it to be. It removed the event element from that. And so, yeah, it kind of opened up the doors for me. Open up the Element doors.
So, I'm curious, like, how did you decide on an Element of like all vehicles? You could have done like anything else. Why the Element? Why did you choose that?
Yeah, I was listening to some podcasts about van life, and there was someone who was talking about an Xterra, and that kind of opened my eyes to how feasible it was to do SUV travel. So when I was looking at my budget, I was looking at all the options of like what would be a good investment. Do I want a big van? Do I want all-wheel drive? Do I want a Transit Connect or something small, a minivan? I was like like charting pricing and the pros and cons of like what I would be getting or sacrificing with different builds. And so I settled on all-wheel drive SUV. And I knew that was the direction I wanted to go off the bat. And so I was looking at like Xterras, I was looking at Pathfinders, I was looking at Elements, and I was seeing Elements kind of like everywhere. And then I realized I was like, they don't even make these anymore, but I'm still seeing them all over the place. And I'd posted something on Facebook just for like my friends to be like, hey, do I know anyone who like works at a car dealership? These are kind of what I'm looking for. Does anyone have any leads on this? And one of my old beer friends was like, get the Element. You need to get an Element. Like, I have one. I've driven it for 15 years or whatever, and was just like hyping it up. He's like, let me add you into this Facebook group. And it was the Elements Owners Club? Or, yeah. And so, and I was seeing all these people fanboying all over the car, and I was like, all right, it must be pretty good. So I decided to narrow in on that as my search. I was kind of set on Pathfinders for a minute, but I started digging further into Elements, and I found one, the beige one. I found a khaki one, and I was going to go get it. And my manager was like, you can wait. Just go the next day. Go tomorrow. It's been up for like 3 weeks, 4 weeks. It'll still be there tomorrow. And then I called, and it was not there tomorrow.
That hurt.
Yeah.
That hurt.
Yeah. But they had a new one that they were cleaning and prepping, and I just refreshed every day. And I looked at it, test drove it. And I was like, this is sick. And I just took the plunge.
Wow. And that's the black one where we've seen all over your TikToks and everything like that.
Yeah. So I went with a black all-wheel drive. It was a 2004. I loved it. I love the thing.
But now we've upgraded. We have the big van.
No, it was so hard to part with the Element. It was so hard.
Did it have a name, your Element?
Oh God, I did have a name. What was it? Let me cut that out. I forget.
Some of the That's okay. We don't have to cut it out.
Yeah, I don't typically refer to my vehicles by name.
You don't anthropomorphize them?
I don't I'll give it a subtle little name, but I don't call it that all the time, you know?
Gotcha.
Okay, it was Sunbeam was the full name.
Okay.
Which was the brand of the Brave Little Toaster.
What's that? I don't know what that is.
Oh, it was an old movie. It was called an animated movie.
Okay, no, I've never seen it.
About this toaster that ventures out into the big scary world.
That's cool. That's clever.
Yeah.
I like it.
And it was I looked it up. I was like, okay, so this is my Brave Little Toaster. I don't know, what can I name it that's similar to this? And I saw some reference that it was a Sunbeam toaster. So I called her Sunny for short. But
that's
yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
Oh, Sunny's in good hands, I hope.
Yeah.
Okay.
One of my friends, her daughter needed a car.
Okay.
And so she was looking for a used car and is into camping and stuff. I was like, well, you can take it, platform and all. I had added the roof rack myself, the crossbars, and I had a ski rack on there. And then I was like, just take the whole thing. Go have yourself a time. She was 20.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, you'll have fun with this.
That's awesome. it lives on.
Yeah.
Sunny's out there.
Yeah.
So now you've taken the plunge. You've got a big van. You're full-time living in your van.
Yeah.
So what was it about the Honda Element that was like, I don't want this for full-time living? You wanted something with more space, and I'm assuming.
Yeah. So I knew I could live in the Element full-time. So my setup, I had a full-size mattress. It took up the entire back, and all my storage was underneath.
I'll overlay so they can see.
Yeah. Perfect.
Yeah.
So I knew that I could live in that full-time. It was comfy. But I knew I could only do it full-time if I weren't in a city. And I was going through this cycle of, okay, can I move into a vehicle? Sure, but I have my job. What am I going to do for work? So I'll stay in the city. Can I stay in the city in the Element? I don't know. But then if I go venture out, I need a remote job. And I was just cycling for ages. I didn't think that I could city dwell in the Element because I wanted to be able to cook inside. From a safety perspective as a woman, and not wanting to show that I'm alone in a vehicle in the city. So I knew that was going to be the option if I wanted to city dwell. So I jumped. I went bigger.
You did.
Yeah. So
And how was the experience going from the Element to a bigger van?
I haven't done a lot of desert or exploring it.
You just did it,
Yeah.
right? You just built it out
Yeah.
months ago, I think.
Yeah. So right now, it's early December. I bought this in early July. And then, I think I left San Diego in early to mid-August. So that's when I sold the Element. And then I took my empty van back to Ohio to Cleveland to build it. And so I just drove it to Cleveland. I drove it back. I've been here for a month and city dwelling. So I would say it's hard to compare yet because I haven't done dirt roads yet. I haven't, done rougher terrain in it. But so far, living wise, it's a lot more comfortable. I've got running water. I've got solar power. I can work remote in there because, like I said, my Element was a full-size bed. I didn't really have a workspace where I could sit like this.
You have a Hero's hot rod swivel seat.
That would have changed the game. So I can work in there, and so now it's a little more comfortable for my city needs.
Yeah,
but I guess we'll see how it stands the test of a dirt road.
Well, I mean, I'm impressed by your driving skills. When you came in, you just she pulled in and just backed it up real quick. Just boom. I was like, wow, she can whip this thing around for sure. Yeah, you absolutely can. Skills for sure.
My first week when I was moving out of my house, I had to left side parallel park that into a space in front of a driveway between cars.
Oh, okay.
So it was there was very little space. My dad taught me how to drive really well.
Let's go, Jay.
Yeah.
Cheers to Jay. What's up, Jay? How are you?
Okay.
Oh, Siri wants to get involved too.
Siri was trying to give me parallel parking lessons.
So, speaking of Jay and your family, did you do a lot of camping and stuff growing up? Is that what inspired you to live this outdoorsy life?
Not with my family that much. My family was I don't know, they like and appreciate the outdoors. We'd go for walks. My dad has a nice backyard with walking trails and stuff. But I went to summer camp when I was 12, and I was a camper for 4 years. I was a counselor for 4 years, and I spent a lot of my summers outside. So I think my last summer there, I was there for 12 weeks straight. 11 weeks. And I don't know, I had no cell service. I'd be swimming in the lakes. I'd be hiking, building fires. And that is where I got really outdoorsy. And then moving to California, I think I was telling you earlier, I just miss trees.
Yeah. California, certain areas of California.
Right.
But
right.
Not so much then.
Yeah, Ohio is just leafy, at least where I'm from, in Northeast Ohio. And I missed leaves, and so getting in the Element allowed me to be and hike in the terrain that I wanted. And so I could kind of be wherever I wanted to be if I was missing nature. Go up to Mammoth or something.
When you were part-time living in your Element, where did you was there a memorable experience that just really having you remember wow, that was such a good time in your Element?
Yeah, there was. I mean, I had a really good adventure. I quit my job of 4 years to live in my car with no job plan. I just was so burnt out that I was I need a reset. And I remember those first few days, I was like, what did I do? I was where do I go? I guess I don't have a schedule. It doesn't matter. And I can be wherever I want to be. And so I went to Utah.
Okay.
And I just kicked it. I went around Zion. I went up towards Capitol Reef. It was cold. But I had a few days where I was just sitting on this sort of cliff area. And I was just looking out into this vast expanse. I was oh, this is pretty dope. So I remember just sitting there, minimal cell service through the day, and just appreciating where I was, and just I'd get cold. I'd tuck myself into the car and just let the sun come through the moonroof, and it was great.
Yeah, this is killer. I'm so glad I got an Element with the moonroof because it's just stargazing. I'm sure you know.
Totally.
Getting the sun in.
Yeah.
So you quit your job, and so now what do you do for money on the road? How do you how do you fund this lifestyle?
So after that, I got some seasonal work back in the beer industry.
Well, you live with what you know, right?
Yeah. I had gotten sick of that membership job, and I was okay, I just need a break. And then I did a seasonal job. It was with a kombucha brand. So I got pulled back into the beverage industry. I worked then a year at another brewery, and then I just quit that brewery because they weren't able to accommodate remote work. And the next day, one of my friends saw my close friend's Instagram story and was like, I have a job for you. I was like, all right, so cool. Yeah. Tell me more. And so I work in the veterinary field now, and I'm fully remote. And I do office administrative work, getting people appointments and transportation to Mexico. So the company's called MexiVet Express, and we take people's pets from San Diego across the border to TJ for affordable vet care. And so my days are spent scheduling, getting quotes for people, answering questions, reassuring people that they're good, and
that's a big responsibility, taking someone's pet, their family member. Like, all right, we're gonna take your pet, bring it to Mexico to get it fixed up. But that's crazy that there's a whole industry there.
Yeah,
because it's so expensive to have like pet healthcare here.
Totally.
Yeah, that's wild.
So like there are people who's were quoted surgeries in the U.S. for $10,000. We can do it for, $2,000.
Wow.
So
I mean, worth it.
Yeah. So there's, I think anytime you go to a vet for a surgery, there's going to be some risk. But yeah. So the company's been operating for 5 years.
And you're able to do that remote?
Yeah. So
that's the game changer, right?
Totally. So I trained in San Diego before I left. I went back to Cleveland, and it was cool because my East Coast time hours, I was working 5 to 11 p.m. And so I got to build all day, pick up my niece from daycare, settle in a bit, work, and then just rinse and repeat every day.
So how long did it actually take you to build out the whole thing?
Well, it's not done.
Okay.
I'm living in it, partially converted right now, but it's livable.
Yeah.
It's funny because I started cleaning it, and at this point, I have like minimal build experience, right? I have always been handy, but I told myself I was like mildly handy and extremely stubborn, so I was gonna figure it out. And so
tenacious.
Yeah, right. So like the early days started really slow in the build. I was like cleaning, doing rust prevention. I had to pull hardware out of the floor, fill the gaps and all of that. And so then the floor took me like 5 weeks because there was a learning curve there.
Yeah.
It was also hard like lugging plywood around by myself. And so that took 5 weeks, and then the rest of the build to make it livable was 3.5.
Damn, the floor took that long, huh?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. But again, as I got more comfortable and was doing like smaller projects, it was more manageable. So all in all, I think the build took me 2.5 months to get it to this point.
I haven't looked at it yet. I know.
Yeah.
Should we? No, we'll do it later. We'll do it in a different video when it's completely done.
Right. Yeah.
We ought to.
You can see like the parts. I mean, it's cute for what it is, but there are wires I can miss you.
So, why did you settle on the Ram ProMaster? There's you could have done like a Ford Transit, a Sprinter van. You could have done like a Metris. Why did you pick the Ram?
Part of it was budget. They run a little cheaper. But also I wanted front wheel drive. A lot of the Transits, you've got rear wheel or all wheel. That was not within my budget. I would have loved all wheel. But yeah, I go up to the mountains. I like I'm a skier. So I wanted more front wheel control on it and like dirt roads and gravel and stuff. So I wanted a front wheel. Sprinters, out of budget, but also from a mechanical and like upkeep standpoint, if I were to break down, it's a little harder to find someone that's Mercedes, qualified to build or to fix it. So yeah, I figure they're pretty accessible, budget friendly, front wheel, and easy to fix if you need to. So
now you're in San Diego. You gonna be here for a little bit?
I think through like April.
Okay.
I don't know.
Are you well, that's
the beauty of it.
That's the beauty of it. It's like,
yeah.
Well, I don't know what I'm gonna do exactly, but you got your work through the veterinary job, so you can just kind of be remote.
Yeah.
And just see what opportunities pop up.
Yeah.
What I was gonna ask is, do you plan on finishing the build in this time frame?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I originally told myself I was going to leave town at the end of March. I've been dating someone in San Diego, so I'm like, all right, well, maybe like April. I don't know. I don't know. Well, maybe May.
Settling in your booth thing. I know.
So we will see how that progresses and how that all pans out by that time.
How did you meet him?
Through work.
Oh, the-
Through that 4-year job, but we were purely friends and work buds at that time.
I don't think people know the meme yet, but
Oh God,
if you're fun.
I have a really bad habit of dating coworkers and former coworkers. It's I told myself I wouldn't do it after my last heartbreak that led to me quitting my job. I had never panned out that way before, so
Great place to meet people. I mean, you similar interests. See
People
what we can.
no,
Yeah.
you got to meet people somehow.
Yeah, that's so true.
Yeah, so we weren't working together anymore. When we did work together, we each had separate relationships, and it was purely platonic. And then he moves back to San Diego after living in the Bay for a while, and yeah, we made plans to hang out. And he's building his own house by hand, and I was building my own house on wheels. So we had
The best of both worlds.
things in common. Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So we'll see how that progresses, if that keeps me around San Diego longer. But I know I'm gonna want to get out of the city at some point. But
But if we can talk a little bit about like before, when you were in your element, before you met your current partner, what was your like dating life like when you didn't have like quite a stationary home?
well, so the thing was, is I always like had somewhere to go back to. I was only part-time in the element,
Ah, I see.
so I had a home base. But I met people out on the road. I didn't really like date on the road that much, but it was nice to have like little adventures, and I don't know, I'd meet people. I'm like pretty outgoing, so it's easy to meet people, I guess. But yeah, I never really went on any trips with any partners. My 3-year relationship I had that kind of pushed me into doing van life. I was like looking for some escapism that was ending, and he was not outdoorsy. So
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's like, all right, well, I'm gonna do it by myself then. See you later.
yeah, but it led to me like meeting good people on the road and like finding more alignment in what I wanted in my life. And then it opened up some doors of meeting people who had similar interests.
So I saw something like there's like this micro apartment that you had. That can you tell us about what that situation was like?
Yeah.
What was that? Yeah.
I had made the decision like around this time last year that I was going to move towards full-time vehicle dwelling. And the original plan was in the element. The original plan was to move into the element, live in the desert, quit my job.
Wow, the desert of all places.
Yeah, I was like, I'm just going to go like, I don't know, out to like Utah or something. And
You really liked Utah.
I love Utah.
Okay.
It's beautiful.
Yeah,
So-
it is. Absolutely.
I had decided that was going to be the move, but I didn't want to like show all my cards yet. So I was like, let me start moving in that direction. I need a place that is like moving towards van life. It's a little smaller, little like less comfortable than my studio apartment. So it was this little ADU in the back of my friend's like canyon behind their house. And it was one room. It just had a full-size bed, a desk, and like a half kitchen. The sink was outside, and then I had a composting toilet in like an outhouse building with like an outdoor kind of shower.
Okay.
And so that to me was, excuse me, the start of like downsizing my possessions, learning to live smaller, less comfort around like bathroom and shower situation, and a little bit more rugged of a kitchen situation. And so yeah, it was month to month. It was pretty cheap for San Diego, living alone at least. And I was able to do that to start putting things in storage, get rid of stuff. What do I need? And like pare things down a little bit.
That brings up a good question. Is like, did you have a hard time? I'm assuming you got rid of a lot of things when you like eventually decided to move into your element part time, and then now this thing.
Yeah.
How was that process for you? Just like downsizing, getting rid of I remember when I did it, and it was a whole situation where I was just like, all right, I love these things, but I don't need them.
Right.
Like, and I'm just gonna throw them in the trash. Like, I tried selling them, but
Yeah.
at some point you just gotta like, all right, well, fuck it.
Go into donation. Yeah.
Yeah. So how was that for you?
Really hard. Like really hard.
This is something that people don't quite think about, I think, when they're like, maybe they're dreaming about the van life. Like, oh, that looks really fun. But then you get down to like the brass task. Is it task or task?
Tax.
Brass tacks.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, now I have to get rid of all my stuff.
Yeah.
So how was it?
I am too sentimental like I I attach sentimental value to things, and I have a hard time getting rid of them. My mom is like this, and I totally get it with my mother, but I I would go through things and I'm like, oh, it's a band shirt from my first mosh pit when I was 12. It's like, when have I worn this? I don't know. Still have it.
That's not leaving. That's the same.
It's in my storage unit. So I did get rid of like furniture and stuff. And even though I loved things and I was like, maybe I'll be in a house eventually. No, get rid of it. And so I would say, but moving into the smaller space, it started kind of removing those things from my everyday life. And so I have stuff in storage where I'm like, okay, I haven't worn this shirt in like 2 years now. Do I need it? And I just like chip away at things. Every time I go to my storage unit, I'm like, do I need this? No, get rid of it. Give it to a friend.
Yeah.
So it's a slow process that is still ongoing.
So you have a storage unit where you like store some extra stuff.
Yeah. Well, like right now, since I'm still building, I don't have upper cabinetry, so I still have a lot of kitchen stuff that I need to put in there eventually, but I just don't have storage for yet. So I'm hoping that once I finish the build and I can put more stuff into the van, that I can take all the remaining stuff and be like, okay, do I need it?
Oh.
So it's like, it's a slow chipping. It's hard for me. I'm doing my best. I'm trying.
You are such an armadillo. We talked about hard on the outside, such a softy on the
I can't help it. Yeah.
Oh man.
I notoriously have my walls up. I like to act a little harder than I actually am. So.
I can't wait to see you get your tattoo.
Yeah.
Do you have any cool tattoos you can share with us?
I got this last year. It's some hops.
Makes sense.
My
Checks
beer.
out.
My piece for the beer industry. I've got my Cleveland Guardian.
Yeah, let's
There we go.
show the fans.
Yeah.
There it is.
If you didn't notice from the accent, I am very Cleveland.
I like it. It's
You.
yeah.
I've got like one on my back. I've got one on my side. I've got some stupid ones at my ankle, but got a sorority tattoo.
What's your sorority? You want to shout us?
No.
I never knew anything about that life, so it's always like the only thing I know about that life is like through movies and
Yeah.
and it's just
Yeah, I didn't join one until I was a junior, and at that point it was like a new one on campus. I was like, I want to be involved, but I don't like these ones, and they were adding another one that has a legacy too, and I was like, all right, well I'll go for it. And so I just did it for 2 years, and it was a lot of women who were like, I want to be in Greek life, I want to be involved, but I don't think I fit into these buckets of these existing ones.
good.
And so it was a lot of really cool women who wanted to be involved, but just like weren't sure if that was their vibe. And we kind of found the vibe together. So it was cool. I met some cool people through it.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Do you still like throughout your life? Do you like meet people like? I feel like the people do that. Like, oh, well, hey, you're in this sorority. Like throughout the rest of your life.
Yeah. Occasionally, or like people tell me, because like I don't know, I don't necessarily radiate Greek life,
No, absolutely not.
but it doesn't really come up that much.
You're full of surprises, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like to surprise people. So that I wouldn't say it really comes up much unless people see it and they're like, what the fuck is that sheep?
Always, it's tattoo on your ankle.
Yeah.
I see.
They're like, so what is that blob? And they're like, oh, a sheep for my sorority.
So I wanted to ask, when you were getting rid of everything,
Mhm.
was there anything that you got rid of where you're like, oh shit, I should have done that? Okay, because you're very meticulous about
Yeah.
this. Yeah.
I think there was this one chair that I really had a hard time parting with. I still think about it sometimes. It was a really good chair.
Yeah, that's
But other than that, they're just things. Things come and go. There will be new things. I think the hardest thing for me would be sentimental stuff. So I have like a lockbox of like specialty stuff. I have a little box of like little papers and photos and things I've accumulated through the years. Can't get rid of those. So those are like key things. But other than that, I can't say, it's hard. I wouldn't get rid of like a super sentimental thing. And I think that's the only thing I would probably regret. So I accumulated some old high school journals of mine recently when I was home in Cleveland.
Oh, okay.
I located the journal.
Okay, nice.
So like things like that, can't get rid of. So I'll probably always have a storage unit. of sentimental stuff.
Yeah, because it's hard to keep those kind of things like in your car because there's like the potential for it to be like stolen or something like this, you know?
That's one of my biggest fears
Yeah.
is break-ins and stealing things. I had a car stolen. I don't know if I told you that.
No, tell us. Yeah, tell us.
My first car was a Jeep Cherokee. I loved that thing, all-wheel drive. It was green. It was like that silvery green. I loved it.
Yeah.
Oh, God, that was the best car. So that was my first car. And
How'd you go from that to a Ford Fiesta? Oh, my God.
well,
No,
it's
yeah.
I had the Jeep, and I was interning, doing marketing internship for a brewery during the daytime, and I was hostessing in the evening. And this parking lot behind the brewery was kind of known for people getting mugged. And I was nervous to take my laptop from interning to hostessing and then have to walk back in the evening with the laptop. And so I was like, I know, I'll just put it in the car during the day when I'm safe walking with it, and then I won't have to carry it at night, which to me made sense. Until the entire car got stolen. And my laptop was in it. So I went out after my hostess shift. I was like, I know I parked here. Did I get towed? Called, no towing records. It was gone. It was found the next day. Laptop was not recovered. But it was kind of like a big shakeup of like leaving valuables in the vehicle. And now that I carry camera gear and stuff, I'm like super nervous. I put air tags in everything.
Okay, that's smart.
Yeah, so I can always, like, if I am away, keep an eye on things. And so that kind of rattled me a little bit. While my Jeep was getting fixed, they gave me a rental car. It was a Ford Fiesta. And I was like, ooh, gas mileage.
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah, so I was like, all right, like if I'm, buying my own car for the first time, like what is important to me? At that time, the brewery I was working for, I was driving 4 days a week, an hour each direction to work at the brewery from my college town. And so gas mileage was pretty key. So they were pretty affordable cars, good gas mileage, got me where I needed to be.
Yeah, no shade to anyone who drives a Ford Fiesta out there. I'll just say that I think the Jeep Cherokee was just a little bit cooler.
It was cool, but I think the Jeep is kind of what influenced me to go a little boxier when I got the Element.
That all makes sense.
It felt more like something I was comfortable with. I was like, okay, I feel comfy driving this. The all-wheel drive, the boxiness, it feels more rugged. It was fun.
So how was it going from like the Element, which gets okay gas mileage, to the ProMaster now? What's the gas mileage on this thing?
Good question. I have not like actually tracked it. I've done a lot of highway driving too, so it's a little different in the city.
Yeah.
Excuse me, but I mean, it's not great. But like I said, I've been doing a lot of highway driving, so it's decent. I've got like a 20-gallon tank.
Okay.
So fill-ups are still like as frequent, lower mileage, bigger tank. Gas is so expensive, so it hurts me every time I have to fill it.
Man, here we go. It's got to happen regardless.
The Costco lines are worth it.
Yeah. So then, do you feel like having something that is big like this kind of like limits your adventures a little bit? Because like, yeah, you have to pay like a bigger gas bill. So that probably brings in another factor of things you think about when taking an adventure of sorts.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't get an Icon pass to go skiing this year because I'm still building, and I had to consider priorities with money, okay, I need to spend my time building. Do I want to spend money for an Icon pass? How much am I going to be driving to Mammoth? Because that's 6 hours.
Yeah.
If you drive fast like I do.
From San Diego?
Yeah.
Wow, that's fast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've done it in less. Also, to be fair, I drive late at night. There's no traffic.
Well, I've seen how you whipped it, so I can see it. It's 100. Like,
I have a lead foot. I'm much more manageable in this because I think I told you yesterday I had to like hit the brakes for a stoplight and all my stuff went flowing.
gosh.
But I like to say that I drive efficiently.
Well, you told me about the story driving from Cleveland to California in like 3 days, which is insane, absolutely insane. I don't know how you did it.
2.5.
I'm sure just thinking about it.
Yeah, right. I can drive long distances really easily. 6 hours to Mammoth for me was nothing. But yeah, my flight got canceled after Christmas last year, And with an hour's notice of booking the rental car, I hit the road and I did 21 hours of driving in one go. So I stopped at one point to like work on my computer for an hour, but like, yeah, I don't know. If I'm determined, I can do it.
Tenacious.
I like, yeah, right?
Or stubborn. I don't know.
Both. I don't know. I like late night driving, so the roads are clear. You can just cruise.
How do you pass the time on like those long road trips?
During the daytimes, I'll do
listening to the In My Element podcast.
Yeah,
No.
exactly.
Yeah, right. No.
I listen to podcasts and audiobooks during the day, where I can like kind of zone out or like focus on that and just like cruise on the road, but I'm still alert of my surroundings and awake. And if I'm driving at night and I like want to stay hyped, like keep the energy high, I'll just turn up like my favorite music and I'll just like sing as I drive at night. I'm a big car singer, so
That's fun. It's fun.
Yeah.
What do you like to listen to? Keeps you going.
I listen to like a lot of folk music.
Okay.
More like country, but not like stadium country. More like indie, folky country.
Name some bands so the comments can be low.
Yeah. Oh, I will admit I've been into Noah Khan a lot this year.
Okay.
He's good energy. He's like a little more like radio friendly folk music, but I really like Sierra Farrell. I just got tickets to go see her in March. I'm really excited. Yeah, stuff like that. I don't know.
None of these names mean anything to me.
Okay.
So
I'll send you some stuff.
Thank you. Yeah. I'll folk. Why not?
Yeah.
We'll give it a shot.
Yeah.
I recently discovered jazz music.
Okay.
Bill Evans. You ever heard of Bill Evans?
Mm-mm.
Changed your life.
Yeah.
Just super cool jazz music. Apparently, this guy was like doing a bunch of drugs all the time.
Okay.
And the way he plays the piano is so interesting. He's like hunched over and just like
Hyper focused.
he's got this weird like, but his music is so beautiful.
Oh.
Yeah. So
You have to do a Spotify blend. Do you use Spotify?
I don't. Well, I know. I
Okay.
don't.
No. I won't shame you. Do whatever.
Everyone's gonna shame me on the comments, so man,
Nothing wrong.
out me like that.
I heard that Apple Music has higher audio quality. So
Yeah, and they try to do like an Apple. So this is the one thing. Every year there's like the Spotify Wrapped, and everyone gets to share. Ooh, look at my music.
Yeah.
And then Apple did last year and this year they did Apple Replay. It's not the same. It's not the same, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And mine's just yoga music because I'm teaching yoga all the time. It's yoga music and rap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's important to have balance.
So what is the Spotify mixed or whatever you called it?
A blend.
Okay.
So if you and another Spotify user, you can send a link to them and create a mutual playlist. But it auto-populates every day and shakes it up. And it's all based on what you're listening to lately or classic favorites. And it shows you this song came from this person, this song came from this person, or you guys have this artist in common, so here's this song. And it's really cool.
That is cool.
Yeah.
I can see like a group of my friends like all merging together and like having this really cool playlist.
Yeah.
You got to re-up the coffee, you know?
Highly caffeinated at all times. It's important to be.
That's what my 23andMe told me, is that I had to be caffeinated all the time.
That's what it said. It was like, you must have a daily dose of this many milligrams.
400 milligrams minimum.
Yeah.
Not really, but it's something close to that.
Honestly, same. Oh, yeah, that's another trick to my long drives is Celsius.
That's so good.
Can't help it. Yeah.
There's like these ghost energy drinks. Have you seen those?
I don't think so. Oh, wait.
The little they're like candy flavored kind of.
I've seen them because I was like, is Snapchat making an energy drink?
That would be really cool. Yeah.
I think they have a possible partnership opportunity. SRDM.
Well, from the marketing genius herself.
Yeah.
You know, you see the opportunity.
We're just brand confusion. I saw the ghost. I was like, that's weird.
Oh, yeah, that does make sense.
Yeah.
Oh, duh. Now I get it. I thought it was because they're both kind of like yellow.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
A little ghost.
So, you make TikToks.
Yeah.
You have like your Instagram, Leanne in the van.
Yeah.
And you have a couple of YouTube videos. Where do you see that? How does that play in your future?
Well, I enjoy making content for myself. I am not necessarily like striving for the most followers, but like it's nice to post stuff and see some love on it. But yeah, I started taking videos of my adventures when I was out in the element, and you know, it was just fun because I was solo traveling. I was like, okay, like how can I make cool stuff? I want, you know, if no one's here to take photos of me, might as well do it myself. Like
Yeah, and he has some nice drone shots too.
Yeah.
Sipping beer in the back of your element. How cool is that?
So, I mean, I've always been pretty photography minded. I've been doing photography for years. And so I started doing that more for myself and to share my adventures that I was going on. And I always feel like capable of making content. The problem was in working in marketing, sometimes I do it so much for work that I'm like, "Ugh, I'm tired. I don't want to do this in my free time."
Yeah.
So I've kind of dropped off in the last year and a half a little bit because at my last job, I was taking photos every day. I was posting on social media 6 days a week. And it was just like exhausting. And I was like, okay, if I'm spending this much time on my phone for work, do I want to do it the rest of the time?
Yeah.
And I found the answer is no. But I'm no longer in that job and I'm not doing marketing right now anymore for work. And so I see myself doing it more right now. I'm just kind of like recouping a little bit. But I would like to make more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do we got to do to start up your YouTube channel again?
I mean, honestly, it probably wouldn't be that far off. I get really self-conscious filming myself in public.
Oh, yes.
That's a big...
This for sure.
It's a real problem.
Yeah. I always feel like whenever I'm with someone,
yeah,
so much easier.
Oh my God.
Yeah. It's like if there's two crazies filming, I get it.
Yeah.
If it's just one crazy talking to a camera, like even like I'll be in the park and I'll see someone like sitting in a park having a picnic, just filming themselves.
Yeah.
I look at him like, yeah, I do the same thing, but it's weird. It's a little weird. It's maybe it's our generation, you know, because we're just like, oh, you know, but we're so in it. Yeah.
I mean, I think the hard thing is then I watch other people's content and I am admiring some of the things that they're doing, talking about the shots that they have, and I'm like, oh, but they're doing that thing that I like feel cringy doing, but it comes across really nice. And you know, if I want to full commit to getting a good shot, it's like you gotta ego aside a little bit.
Yeah, you gotta.
Yeah, you gotta.
It's interesting because like I consume the content all the time.
Oh yeah.
Like if I see someone just talking to a camera, I love that stuff.
Totally.
But it's just weird when you see it out in like public. You're like, oh, that's interesting. That's what they're doing right now.
Yeah.
But it makes sense.
Yeah. I had started filming my van build. I had really wanted to do like a series where it was tracking my progress. There's a lot of work that goes into like setting up camera angles and like looking at it, making sure the footage came out and like, oh no, I got to do this now. And like, to make a quality video. And then I had all this footage and I was like, I don't know what to do with this. I'm short on time. I got to rush. And then I just kind of stopped. So
yeah.
I think maybe as I finish the build, I'll do more updates. But I know a big thing of like YouTube is consistency. And I worry that I won't have that.
I don't know if it is, honestly. I really don't. Yeah, it is for your like audience. Like they want to keep seeing your face. But as far as like the algorithm is concerned, I don't think it matters. Like if you put something out and people like it and watch it, it'll get pushed through and more people will see it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But I think the consistency thing is just more for like if you have regular viewers.
Mm-hmm.
If you have regular viewers and you don't post for like 2 years, they'll just drop off, you know? But there'll still be those people like, oh crap, Leanne's back.
Yeah. So I would like to, maybe I'll scrap together some of that stuff that I had filmed in the early stages of floor building. I stopped filming because I was so discouraged on the floor. But it'll probably come back.
It's so hard to like film yourself at the build the thing and like it just makes everything take so much more time.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Because I was building during the day and then I would pick up my niece from daycare. I was living with my brother when I was back in Cleveland and they let me stay there in exchange for helping with the kid. So I would help with the kid and then I would work on my computer and then I would stay up talking to California people. And I just did not find the time in my schedule to edit.
Yeah.
And then the floor took forever. So.
Well, you do have a Honda Element tour, which everyone loves on this channel.
Yeah.
So we'll leave that down below. Okay. So we can watch after this podcast, you can watch it.
Don't go away.
We're not done yet. But I watched it. It's got like a bunch of views and people love that stuff. So I think if you did something similar with this, once it's completed, people are going to just like eat it up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was actually from my first solo trip. So at that point, I had like a smaller water tank. I kept my clothes like under the bed where they weren't super accessible. So there were some things in that video, that initial walkthrough, that shifted by the time that I sold it. But the setup is the same.
Yeah.
It's still the same bed, and it was fine.
When do you feel most in your element? This is a question I always ask, like, and you can take that however you want.
When I am alone in the woods. I like being alone. And when I can just put away social media, put away the voices and the clutter of other people. I just like to be with my thoughts, and it's very centering to be alone in nature. I would say that's when I feel the most myself.
Does a van play a role in that?
I think it provides access to that. I think you can find that pretty much anywhere. There are times when I'm sleeping on a street in a van and I feel, like I'm alone. I feel like I'm there with myself, but it provides access to nature, and that's when I feel the most in my element, even though it's not an element anymore.
It's okay. We'll give you a pass. It's fine.
Yeah.
So, do you meditate?
Not really. I've tried with apps and stuff.
What's your experience like with it?
I enjoyed it. I have problems quieting my mind a little bit. And my attention span is not great. And I know that meditation in smaller doses and like building up can get you there. And that's like kind of what it's there for, is to learn to quiet your mind.
Yeah.
But I struggle.
I mean, you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, but like, I think what you're doing is basically like a mindfulness meditation where you're just like being hyper aware of your surroundings, and just like, I'm imagining you, I think you mentioned like Canyonlands, or not Canyonlands, maybe it was Capitol Reef. That's the one where you're just there, you're like looking, you're just taking it all in.
Yeah.
And when you're taking it all in, it's hard to hear the voices because you're just so present.
Yeah.
I think that's what mindfulness meditation is.
Yeah. There's some videos that I sent you, some drone shots of me sitting on this like cliffside. It's not in Capitol Reef, it's just east, but I went there, and for a while I was the only person there. And it was nice to just sit there. There's minimal cell service, but I was able to just like stand on this cliffside and be like, oh my God, I can't believe I'm here alone in this vast place. And it puts things into perspective.
So let's throw that drone shot in so you guys can see. Yeah.
I took a lot of drone shots. Beautiful.
What advice would you have for future van dwellers, element dwellers? What do you have?
Anyone can do it. You don't need to have the biggest rig in the world. You don't need to have the fanciest thing. Just start somewhere. You can throw a cot in the back of your car. You can have just like a mattress on a semi-level surface. You can, it doesn't have to be fancy. I think on social media so much you see these beautiful like $100,000, $200,000 Mercedes build outs, and people are like, this is van life. But like it's not. And I mean it is, but it's a different version of it. Not all versions look the same. And if you want to get out and explore, you can do it at any level, and it doesn't have to be fancy. And it's accessible. There's information out there. There's really good resources to learn outdoorsy stuff. I was telling you about my friend Roland, who's camp anthropology on TikTok and Instagram.
Yeah.
He's a great resource for people getting outside. And there's resources to learn outdoorsy things, and you never really know until you try. But you don't need to invest a lot to get started.
Yeah. You really don't need a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like what you did. I like that you weren't ready to commit to the full thing, and you had the micro house, and you're like, okay, I've got the micro house, I've got a home base, but then I'm just gonna venture off in my element, explore a little bit, try it out, see if I like it. You did.
Yeah.
And then you're like, okay, now I'm ready to like make the full commitment.
Yeah.
And I think that's a really smart way to go about it.
Yeah. I mean, I know some people who have dove in, like gotten just jumped right into full-time van life with a big vehicle, and they're like, oh my God, what am I doing? And like, there's a learning curve. People figure it out eventually. People are resourceful. But if you don't want to feel like you made a gigantic investment and maybe are at risk of like not liking it, start small. You don't have to go big.
Start an element.
Yeah.
Join the cult.
It was I hype up my element all the time. I miss that thing. Selling it was the hardest thing.
Everyone says it, man. Everyone's like, people. This is the weird thing about the element. People are just like, it's like a cult following. People love it.
Yeah.
Like they always the problem with you shared earlier when you were thinking about buying it, you just started to see them everywhere.
Oh yeah.
I had the same experience. I was like, I started to think about it, and then all of a sudden, everywhere. I'm like, oh man, this is meant to be.
It's so recognizable, and you're like, oh, there's another one. Yeah. So and it was funny. Like as soon as I did buy it, I felt very validated. Where I was like driving someone, and they're like, oh, you have an element? I'm on my second one.
Yeah.
Like that was my first car, and I had to get a replacement. And like I think I told you I did a photo shoot for this one brand a handful of months ago, and the photographer was like, "Are you silly?"
Oh, that's right. That's right. That's right. Right. That's right. Yeah.
And then when I did, I sold it.
So, but what I want to ask about that photo shoot.
Yeah.
Do you have pictures from it? Like, or does it show the element, or does it just show the product mostly?
I don't have possession of the photos.
Okay.
The brand does.
Yeah.
Some of them can maybe be found on their Instagram.
Okay.
I can send you the link.
Yeah.
I don't know if you see like the full car.
Okay. So that would be cool.
It was like lacing up my hiking shoes like on the tailgate and stuff. Yeah. But
do I have it? I have a sweater. We could take some pictures if you want.
Sure.
And then we can market it. I have a sweater you guys can buy.
Buy this merch. It's your photo here.
No, normally I would wear it, but it was so hot.
Yeah.
I was just like.
Yeah.
Is there any questions that I didn't ask that you wish I would have asked?
No, it's your podcast. I'm an open book.
I know.
Too much sometimes.
That's true. We didn't talk about it, but it's very much on your brand. Is that you're bisexual and you like date a lot of like queer people and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So how has that experience been for you? I guess it's just different for me because like I am, what do you call it, heterosexual? Yeah. So like, how has that experience been for you, being a bisexual person in the world today?
It's great. I feel
I love it. Yeah.
Really awesome. Yeah, it was something like I recognized in myself a long time ago. And then as I started to like, I call it like coming out to myself, where I was like putting a name to it. Putting a name to it was hard. And like feeling validated in the community when all I had dated was men.
Yeah. I just noticed your little arm. Boom. And there's subtleties.
Not so subtle if you know what to look for, but yeah. So I would like come out in stages, to a few friends. I came out to my parents. I came out to.
Should I to your parents first?
I think. Let's see. I started opening myself up to dating women in 2016, and then I think I came out to them in 2019. So it was like to friends and like getting comfortable, and like finding friends within my community. That felt very validating to have people who had similar experiences and understood a certain aspect of my identity. Because like my friends are not all part of the community, right? Like,
of course.
But some of those friendships, relationships feel more validating to feel like I'm understood at a core level. And so, so it was a process of like kind of coming out to various people. And so dating on the road has been interesting because I'm like, who's around? like anybody really.
Boy or girl doesn't matter. I'm in. So yeah, that's good. Yeah.
So I guess it opens up opportunities in that range.
Yeah.
But
it opens up the dating pool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Truly.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I feel more validated by a queer partner. So I tend to date queer individuals, men, women, whoever, and so it's been really nice figuring that out.
Yeah. being in the dance world, I've had a lot of like gay friends throughout my life. Just seems like there's a lot of queer people in like the dance community.
Mhm.
So it's always interesting to me just to like understand people's stories, like where they come from, how they like discovered their own like sexuality. It's just interesting.
Yeah.
So thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, totally. Thanks for talking about it.
I went to like a queer tango event that happened in LA.
Mhm.
So much fun.
Mhm.
So much fun.
Yeah.
It was a great party.
Good energy, I'm sure.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, I don't know. I think on my TikTok, I've posted a lot about like outdoorsy stuff, my travel stuff, but I do post a lot about queer stuff. And so I was going on trips with like camping trips with queer friends. And like, I think it's really beautiful to have.
Yeah, I did see there's like a group trip you guys did.
Yeah. Yeah. Some friends and I. So being the most outdoorsy of the group, I was like, okay, guys, we're going here and here and here. And then people are like, I forgot this. I'm like, I've got it. So it's fun to go on trips like that with friends. But even though I love solo travel, it's nice to take a little friend trip sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or go to meetups.
Well, I was just about to mention this Sunday. There's an Element meets.
Okay.
So if you're around,
Can't go.
yeah, we oh no, you can go.
Oh, okay.
That's what I was gonna say. Is like you can show up and just be like, hey, I used to have an Element.
Just like slap like a little nail on the back.
Oh, I've got stickers. I could give you an In My Element sticker.
Perfect.
And you guys can find them down below if you want to support this channel.
Right.
It's a great way to
Yeah.
So yeah.
So I'll just throw some of those on and be like, look at my element, guys.
It just grew up.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing your story.
Yeah.
It was really nice to get to meet you. It's the first time I ever met you. So I'm just like,
Been TikTok friends for what, 2 years?
I guess. I don't know. Whenever I see an element, it's just like, all right, auto follow. You got an element? Boom.
Yeah.
You're
I think it's been 2 years since I took my first solo trip out to Zion and started posting element travel content. So,
Yeah.
And about that.
Well, I really hope you make a YouTube video so that these guys can watch it, leave links down below, all that stuff. But it was a pleasure. Thank you so much for sharing your story.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for being in the element.
Yeah, thank you.
Awesome.
Sick.
Boom. Nailed it.